Alrighty, folks, we are live. Welcome. Hope your week is going well so far. Well, we have to talk about stimulus, and this time at the federal level. I know for the last several months, when we talk about stimulus, it's usually a state stimulus check, but now is the time to truly talk about the prospects and potential of a federal stimulus check for all Americans, at least within the guidelines and parameters that would be put forth. Now, what we have here is a very interesting dynamic. You have more and more increasing odds of a federal stimulus check due to the state of the economy, but yet you also have areas where it looks like the economy is improving and we are seeing some relief. So I want to talk about all of that, and we're going to be looking at what economists are saying about this and the experts. So let's get started and dive right into today's live. First, guys, let us know where you're tuning in from, city, state, location. Tell us in the live chat there on the side. Whatever you want to tell us, your location. You can tell us where you're tuning in from. Welcome. Glad to have you all on. And by the way, give this live a tremendous thumbs up. Smash the like button if you're watching the live version or the replay. Make sure you do give this video a big thumbs up. And if this video gets to 500 likes, we will do a cash giveaway where we give away $100 to a few of you lucky subscribers. Speaking of being subscribed, make sure you are subscribed and have those notifications turned on. That little bell will actually notify you every time we post a brand new video. So make sure you have notifications turned on, and we'll be doing another cash giveaway once we get 20,000 subscribers, which might be right around the corner at the pace we are going. So with that being said, let's get started and dive right in. So we're talking about federal stimulus checks and what are the odds of it happening for a fourth time. Well, of course, stimulus checks have been a very big, widely popular topic among the American people, as now you have both the pandemic and now inflation. And although the National Bureau of Economic Research, or the NBER, hasn't officially declared a recession, experts are saying that we are in an economic downturn already, as it is because of the new GDP data. And with that being said, one economist is even saying that could likely prompt another round of relief. Very interesting. According to Tara Sinclair, who is an economics professor at George Washington University, she had told MoneyWise that stimulus payments during times of recession have been a, quote, common policy in the past and would, quote, likely be part of a federal response should a recession be declared. Now, this is a different scenario here. We've never seen anything like this, where you have this recession just on the heels of a major once every century pandemic, where now 3 stimulus checks have already been sent out, with many states sending out stimulus checks in addition on top of that. And of course, stimulus checks were not the only form of stimulus. You also had the child tax credit, you had the student loan forbearance, which is still going on, unemployment, the expansive program, and many other forms of stimulus. So this would be quite historic in that now we want another stimulus check following 3 stimulus checks. But let's keep looking at what this expert is saying. Sinclair warned that now would be a terrible time, in her own words, for a stimulus check to be going out to Americans. In fact, she said it could even exacerbate the nation's existing problems. And many economists do agree with that essentially sending out more stimulus checks would just put us right back to square one, and we'd just be chasing our tail because that's what got us here in the first place. She said, if we stimulated the economy even further, that wouldn't get us more economic growth. That would instead very likely just get us even more inflation. Sinclair's comments echo concerns raised by the Congressional Budget Office, or CBO, back in September of 2020, when the nonpartisan federal agency forecasted that COVID stimulus checks would have a long-term effect like inflation. Guys, let us know your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on the idea of sending out another stimulus check, but that potentially making the promise, or rather the problem, even worse? What are your thoughts on that, guys? Let us know in the chat. We'll give it a few seconds for some people to respond. I want to hear your guys' opinions on that matter. Alrighty, interesting. Okay, so some of you agree, some of you do not with another stimulus check. And this also is similar to some of the comments that we've gotten on our previous videos as well. But let's keep going, and maybe your opinion will change. In a recent report, the CBO said that the debt caused by those relief payments would increase the risk of fiscal crisis and allow for a possible scenario where investors lose confidence in the U.S. government's ability to service and repay its debt, causing interest rates to increase abruptly, inflation to spiral upward, or other disruptions to take place. That report rather came about a year and a half, a couple of years ago, and now they've basically manifested that and was very prophetic. And that is basically where we are right now. High interest rates, high inflation, all of the above, all the boxes ticked. Now, the Federal Reserve, which at the time had said it would welcome the upward pressure, is now scrambling to control inflation without triggering a recession. They're basically teetering right now. And yes, interest rates are high, but actually mortgage rates did drop a little bit, just so you understand, folks, because the mortgage rates are not necessarily tied to the interest rates that the Fed raises, right? It's rather tied to other numbers and figures. And so mortgage rates actually did tick down slightly. Now, while last quarter's gross domestic product report found that the U.S. economy had shrunk for a second consecutive quarter, a loose definition many use to define a recession, the NBER has officially not made a recession call. And we just talked about this, guys, in our video from the other day, where the White House basically changed the definition of a recession, and this was highly controversial. And many politicians and the American people were quick to point this out, that the White House doesn't want to use the R word, and they're basically changing the definition, whereas if this happened under the other administration, we know for a fact that Democrats would be shouting in recession from the mountaintops. Now, under the Bureau's definition of recession is classified as a, quote, significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and that lasts more than a few months, which can take months for the NBER to determine. Of course, a number of states have already begun issuing stimulus checks to residents in response to skyrocketing inflation, but there haven't not been similar efforts on the federal level. It's mostly been the states that have been taking matters into their own hands and providing that money back to the people. We have covered numerous state stimulus checks, some states even doing multiple checks, multiple iterations, notably California. Californians are set to receive as much as $1,050 as early as October, while parents in Florida have already begun receiving $450 checks per eligible child. We have covered both of these state stimulus programs. Now, the economist Sinclair said that while sending out relief might be, quote, needed in a tough recessionary time, she hopes to see Congress work on incentivizing the private sector so that way we can get those goods and services that we want. Probably referring to the supply chain crisis there and the issues that we have seen over these last several months. Alrighty, folks, so what do you think about the prospects of another stimulus check? Do you think it is possible that we could see another one? Do you think we should be receiving another stimulus check? Or should we just basically cut it off cold turkey and just no more stimulus? Let's just try to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and get this economy going on our own. What do you think, guys? Let us know your thoughts. Now, the reason why this is so interesting is that this is also on the heels of gas prices actually sinking. It sounds good to hear those words come out of my mouth. Well, I'm not necessarily a driver, but I know a lot of you guys have been feeling the pain at the pump, and prices at the pump have continued to sink, providing relief to inflation-weary consumers and an economy mired in a slowdown. The national average for regular gasoline dropped 3 cents to $4.16 a gallon on Wednesday, according to AAA. That marks the 50th consecutive day of falling prices. Guys, this is great news. We're finally seeing these gas prices start to fall and it becoming a little bit cheaper to fill up your tank. Granted, we want to get those prices down like it was a couple of years ago, but one can only dream and hope. Gas prices have tumbled by 86 cents since hitting a record high of $5.02 on June 14th, not that long ago. Over the past month alone, the national average is down now by 65 cents. Very good. 19 states have an average gas price below $4, including Ohio, Iowa, and Wisconsin, according to AAA. The steady decline in gas prices have been driven by multiple factors, including recession fears that have knocked down oil prices and the fact that some Americans cut back on driving when gas prices spiked above $5 a gallon. So this makes sense, right? Supply and demand. The prices have just become too high for a lot of Americans, and so they probably stopped driving for some time, or maybe only started to drive here and there, and therefore less demand, and the prices started to drop. Now, this is so far good news. It does bode well, but granted, once the prices go low again, then you can see more demand and more people start filling up their tanks, and that could drive up prices. So don't think this is permanent. This might just be a transitory, temporary dip. It's not necessarily set in stone. This is going to probably be volatile and fluctuate quite a lot for some time until the economy is fully under control. So this makes sense, right? When you couple the sticker shock that so many Americans felt at the pump and also at the grocery stores and everything else day to day, what happens is many Americans just say, I'm not going to fill up my tank. I just can't afford this, and I'm just going to have to maybe get rid of my car, sell my car, maybe to start taking public transport. Who knows? Now you also have the impact of the Biden admin releasing unprecedented emergency oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, so you also have to count that in. And granted, that was difficult to quantify, right? It didn't have much of an impact. Some people say it was just crumbs, it was just pennies off the bill, but it did have some effect. So no matter what the cause is, this will give a boost to consumers grappling with high prices on food, rent, and everyday objects. Now, here's what you have to understand, guys, is that this average figure that we gave you might actually be much lower in your area, because the average price nationally is $4.16 a gallon, but that's lifted by high prices such as California and New York. So the median price, on the other hand, if you want to look at that, is only $3.99 a gallon. So that's not terrible. And some analysts do argue that prices will continue to dip, especially as the summer driving season winds down and less people are traveling. So many experts believe that this streak will go on and live on, that you're going to see now maybe 2-3 months of consecutive decline in gas prices. And experts are even predicting that the average will drop to $4.10 a gallon in the next 7 to 10 days and $4 by Labor Day. So this is great news, and I would remain hopeful. Now, another factor at play here is that oil has also been tumbling. Oil prices are falling sharply this week, finishing at levels that have been unseen since Russia invaded Ukraine. So we're kind of going back in time a bit now, pre-invasion. These losses were sparked by a new government report that revealed that an unexpected build in stockpiles of crude and gas inventories, raising questions about energy demand. U.S. crude tumbled 4% to $90.66 a barrel, the lowest close since February 10th, 2 weeks before Russia launched its war in Ukraine. Brent crude, the world benchmark, lost more than 3%. Also, concerns about a global economic slowdown have driven oil prices lower in recent days and weeks. Since closing at $123.70 a barrel on March 8th, U.S. oil is now down by about 27%. And this has been continuing even after the U.S. Energy Information Administration said that weekly oil inventories jumped by 4.5 million barrels last week compared with expectations for a decline. Gasoline stockpiles also increased slightly. OPEC has also announced an agreement to increase production beginning in September. That amounts to the smallest output increase on a percentage basis in OPEC history, according to a report. So many factors at play here, right? It's kind of like inflation in and of itself, where it's not just one factor or one person or one country or one part of this equation is to blame here. There's many factors and many pieces of this puzzle, and you have to understand that, and that's what's also going on with gas now and the gasoline decline that we're seeing. But finally, we do have some positive news to report for you guys. Finally, gasoline is on the fall, and we could hope that this could continue and this decline will be steady and consistent. So I'm curious, guys, what are your gas prices looking like in your area, in your city, your town, in your state? I want to know what the average is there, and if you have been noticing a decline in your area. Let us know down below in the comment section or in the live chat if you're watching live. I'm curious to hear. Definitely interested to see if you guys are finally seeing some relief. And how has that affected your gas spending and gas usage? With this decline, are you going to start to use gas more? Have you pretty much just resorted to public transport or other forms of transportation because the gas prices were unaffordable? So let us know what is going on in your area and in your household. I'm curious to hear. Now, as far as a stimulus check, we will keep our eyes peeled and remain watchful. I think if this were to continue, right, if we get more inflation numbers and more negative GDP, I think we're going to start to see some real talks and rumors about a stimulus check, especially after the midterm elections. I think you're going to start to see some speculation making rounds. So With that being said, all updates and developments can be found right here on this channel. This is your one-stop shop. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, smash the like button, share it with a friend. I'd appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. And if you want to get some free stocks, all in me, all free, use those links down below in the description of this video. Sign up with the brokerage platforms, Robinhood and or Webull. You'll get some free stocks, some valued up to thousands of dollars in some cases. So let us know what stocks you get. And if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook. Use the social links down below. I look forward to meeting you there, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care for now. Hope you guys enjoy this live.